The meeting between Candace Owens and Erika Kirk has concluded, and Candace and Erika have both tweeted, with Candace saying that it was an extremely productive meeting. And again, I know there's a lot of people out there, they always say this is just silly drama, doesn't matter. It certainly does matter when the right is being torn apart at the beginning of a midterm year, and we have to win, otherwise Trump doesn't get the back half of a second term. This means that all of the gains get erased. It means Trump's going to get impeached on some nonsense reason. We have the story from the Post-Millennial. A report, podcaster Candace Owens met with TPUSA CEO Erika Kirk on Monday after weeks of tension. As a result, Owens said tensions were thawed. The meeting went on for 4.5 hours, and Owens reported that she would give a full rundown on Tuesday, saying Erika and I had an extremely productive 4.5-hour meeting that I think we both feel should have taken place a lot earlier than it did. We agreed much more than I had anticipated. Of course, we also disagreed on various points and people as well. Most importantly, we were able to share intel and clarify intent. I will, of course, have a full rundown for you all tomorrow, as I am currently exhausted, but I wanted to quickly let you guys know that absolutely nothing was held back, and the immediate result was that tensions were thawed. Now, I think this is interesting. As a moment ago, we were talking about the left and the right and people who are brainwashed in these factions, and I think Candace certainly represents another form of zealotry. It's not necessarily a right-wing thing. I know a lot of people say that she's on the right or woke right or whatever it is. But if you look at the Young Turks comments, you can see that Candace has a very, very massive liberal audience. These are regular people who don't know a whole lot about what is going on. And it's really easy to trick people into thinking insane things by, quote unquote, asking questions. The thing is, however, as for Candace and many of these other people that are questioning the assassination of Charlie Kirk, is they're asking questions about things that aren't actually things that have ever happened. They seem to be just making Egyptian planes.
Yeah.
Why are there so many Egyptian planes flying around? Can someone answer this? No, because it's not real. And so when you ask that, and then someone asks it for an answer on the Egyptian planes, and you explain to them it never happened, they don't believe you. They say, no, I don't know about. There's been debunk after debunk after debunk. But what do you do when you have large factions of people who don't know what's going on, lining up in this weird world and dragging everybody down with them?
Usually make a louder, more bright thing for them to look at so that you can realign them and show them the path forward. I think because these people, madness, they talk about madness. Do people experience, I've gone mad? Like, it's kind of funny, it's cliche because it's such a small, but madness is when you're sad or you're in pain and you're confused. When you're hurting and you don't know why. And that's what happened when Charlie was killed. Candace devolved into madness. I've been watching it for 3 months. She's been trying to figure out why. She wants to know why because she's been confused.
No, Ian, that's wrong.
Well, tell me how.
Okay, I'll say things that I probably shouldn't say, but I'm going to say, because I always get super heated on this. Candace Owens has the same security team as Turning Point and Charlie Kirk did. She's lying. She has the same security people. I've been digging into this. I've been meeting with people and talking with them. And I shouldn't say too much because there's more that's going to be coming out soon. Because rest assured, people are filing legal paperwork against her. Candace has the same security team, or has used the same security companies and the same security personnel as Charlie and Erika did. So when she comes out and is questioning them, she is lying outright. Now, I've invited many of these people to come on. We'll see what happens. We'll see when they can. The issue is, the moment Candace goes on her show to millions of people and lies, litigation begins. And what happens when litigation begins? People don't do interviews about it. She is exploiting this, and she knows she is, to keep people wrapped up in this insanity.
Then there might be a middle ground here because it is insane. And
yeah, it's called Candace.
Maybe she's lying, but it doesn't mean that she hasn't gone mad in some sense. And I think a lot of that's why I'm not being too harsh.
She outed her own lawyers. She said Egyptian planes were landing at airports where black government SUVs were driving to an address in Delaware, and then she read the address to her own lawyers. She does not vet anything she's talking about. There was a leaked video that came out. Steven Crowder put this out. It is a meeting at the Daily Wire where Jeremy Boring is explaining why they are severing ties with Candace Owens. And one of the things he said was that when he sat down with her, she said, I believe, Candace says this, what the people believe. That's it. She's outright saying she doesn't care what's true and she doesn't believe anything. She is going to say whatever people want her to say so she gets traffic and gets clicks. That's why she flips around, and she has this Lost-esque podcast that never concludes a single thought. Yep. Now, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? What did she just tweet 2 or 3 days ago? That we think Tyler Robinson didn't act alone? Well, hold on a minute, Ian. You said she wasn't lying, but
who's
I thought
we?
No, she already said Tyler Robinson didn't do it. So why is she now saying he didn't do it alone? You think she's telling you the truth?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't
She's
follow
lying.
her personally.
And
I like her,
Milo played this game where he said, you're doing mind reading. No, that applies to Donald Trump being a bloviating blowhard when he says things that are not true. And then we're asking, did he actually know that? Or is he just saying things because he just does it, right? Because he's wrong. You can be wrong. When Candace insinuates the security team that tended to Charlie Kirk didn't provide aid or were in on it, and she hired those very same people, she's lying. Now, I will say this. I have spoken with security sources who have informed me of this. We will see what this turns into, and I am working on getting these people to come on the show to explain all of this. But one thing I want to add for everybody out there who doesn't know this, there is one big company that does security for everybody. I forgot the name of it, and we always get asked if we use them. We don't. But there's one company that does security for basically everybody. So this has come up before. I'm the first one to bring it up. But I recently had a conversation, and there are people right now, and there are moves being made because Candace is overtly lying. Hey, so it'll be interesting when it comes out who these security guys are and who she has worked with to then make claims about them.
It is possible that she is. I try not to talk about people behind their back. Candace, if you were here, it'd be easier to say this to your face. It's possible that you are a lying grifter piece of shit, and you always have been. It's possible. I don't know. I saw some humanity in you. I think you really love Charlie, and this has been. Why was she going
around telling people she hated him?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Because maybe she loved him and he rebuffed you, Candace. Maybe you loved him and he didn't want to be with you.
She was going around in the months before assassination, privately telling people how much she hated him.
I mean, all I know is what's really unfortunate about this is we're watching a renaissance right now in this country. We're watching real change happen that's never happened before. We're seeing a government moving quickly to right a bunch of wrongs that have been piled upon us. And whether you want to call it the right, conservatives, Republican, whatever, it's a movement, right? And this is something I deal with, if I'm like, one of the voices of the medical freedom movement, all the infighting and all this talking about, is it controlled opposition? Oh, is Candace controlled opposition? And I've been called controlled opposition. I mean, I always say, whether or not you're a controlled opposition, if you're acting like it, this is tearing apart a movement right now. And I think we all have to check in with ourselves. Our desire for drama, our desire to have like this, Kim Kardashian experience or Real Housewives moment, or Charlie's really not, or, we want to bring down, those that did great things. Charlie Kirk did amazing things. I mean, I worked very closely with him and he was great in helping me get Bobby Kennedy with Donald Trump and bringing all that together. And to think that, if you got Maha movement is a powerful movement, it's going to be huge in the midterms. But Charlie's ability to reach the young people and college students was this other powerful factor. These two groups, Bobby, Maha and Charlie and the work at Turning Point, I think are why Donald Trump is in the position that he's in. And I would say, why would anyone's motivation be to tear down any one of these movements right now? Even there's always problems. There's always bad leadership. There's also always bad people in and around. You're trying to clean them out when you're doing the work yourself. But this is so detrimental to such a powerful movement, and it's undermining now where the kids should have been, in college, campuses having debate what Charlie Kirk brought to this. Candace Owens is just turning this into a disgusting, mud wrestling, shit fest, really. It's really, I'm sure the money is great, but I don't know what her motivations are. I'm always trying to speak to the people. Don't follow people that tear us apart. Like, maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe she's off her rocker. I don't know. She might even have the truth, but what good is it doing? Even if it was true, what good is it doing? Well, it's tearing apart great work that's been done and kids and students that believe in an ideal.
What is true? You said even if it's true, what?
I mean, even if whatever she's saying,
she's never said anything.
Huh?
She's never said anything. Every single thing she does is ask a question about something that's unrelated. She's never concluded anything.
Yeah.
Except that Charlie Kirk was betrayed by Turning Point. What does that even mean?
Right.
When you come out and say, clearly she's insinuating that Turning Point killed Charlie, she goes, I never said that.
Yeah.
But the
Sure,
argument
they
is,
betrayed him. What does that mean?
even if someone says
They
something
didn't pay
that's
for his
true,
lunch?
but they use the truth in a way to divide and destroy a movement that's actually helping us, then that person that's speaking that truth is bad for society in that moment. And you should avoid that truth right now. Like, that can happen. Some truths are not, it's not time, you know?
I completely disagree.
No,
and
it's not always time to say what you're thinking that's real, you know,
No, I think people should always tell the truth.
with discernment.
Like for security clearance issues, you don't reveal certain
And
information.
if someone gets killed the next
But I
day, you
think
don't
it's-
go out and say, this is how I feel about that person, and these are all the things they said to me. And
I suppose you can have timing on your feelings, and we're talking about the idea of like a white lie. The idea is don't call your wife fat because you don't want to hurt her feelings. We're not talking about that. We're talking about a coalition that is fighting against very, very dangerous forces. Mask mandates, lockdowns, mandated medications. And the Republicans have not been great, but they've been better.
Yeah.
And I will take speed bump for the machine state over voting for the machine state. And Candace will take throwing a stick of dynamite into at the speed bump, allowing the machine state to carry on at full speed.
Yeah. I mean, well, like Candace fundamentally, she's, in my opinion, I don't know, you guys may disagree, but in my opinion, she's downstream from the larger issue, which is the incentive structure that has been set up in polemics, quite frankly, because Tim makes this point all the time, is that political commentary in many ways is dead because it's just about how can you generate the most unbelievable narratives, that sort of thing. Hard-hitting reporting, analysis, these sorts of things, these are boring, people. You need to shock and awe and these sorts of things. So all Candace is fundamentally doing here, among other things, is just responding to the incentive structures that are currently set up in political commentary.
I'll put it like this. I consider where we are right now the off season. That's how we describe it. It's the holiday season, so it's the off season for the year, and then we're after a presidential election, so there's no big politics happening right now. Political and news shows are not the forefront. Currently, we have around 40,000 people watching concurrent viewers. 10 months ago, we had 80. So our concurrent viewership is much lower today, likely, again, to the holidays, but also who cares about politics at this moment? Candace is having a renaissance herself. How? Look, if you want to increase viewership, you have to create the interest. And if we just talk about what is, people eventually say, I get it. When the elections are coming up, I'll pay more attention. Candace goes, Bridget Macron's a man. They're trying to kill me. Israel's taking over, and Charlie was killed by the French Foreign Legion. It's like just throwing the most psychotic things out there because it will get you those views at a time when people aren't really that interested.
When has Candace ever really talked about politics? She dances around political people and talks about drama, but she's not talking about policy.
When she was at the Daily Wire, she did.
Yes, but I'm talking about, well, fair enough. But since she started her own show, she hasn't been a political person. She's been a drama person. She's been talking about, nothing that she's been talking about is actually about policy. She hasn't brought up any kind of, I don't think she talks about the border or any kind of political issue at all. It's all about drama.
Here's the game she plays. It doesn't work with an audience like the one that we have, which is higher brow news discerning individuals who are trying to fill in the gaps for things they largely know about and get the latest information up to date. But for a general audience, you can make a real interesting show by saying something like, I heard Israeli planes had been flying around Candace's house. Flying around her house. Why? What's Candace doing with Israel? Why is she doing that? You start saying things like that, and what happens? People go out and they go, whoa, why is Candace working with Israel? I never said that. I never even said that it was true. I just said I heard. From who? There was a bum in the alley on my way here who was screaming about it. I heard it. Now I can say it, and she can't sue me. This is the game that she's playing. And for regular people, they're entertained by it. But it is some of the most dangerous and vile political content there could be. That is, if you want to talk about Sasquatch, I really don't care. If you want to claim that UFOs came and abducted your grandma and replaced her with Sasquatch, that sounds actually pretty funny. I'd listen to that. But if you're altering the voting patterns of people so that the machine state can take back over and do the things they did to us and engage in the evil they engaged in, I got problems with that.
I'm always amazed who keeps listening to someone that never finishes. I mean, I dealt with this a little bit with Bobby and the Olivia Nuzzi story, which Candace kept saying, I've got the facts, I'm dropping them tomorrow, here it comes, never came. How does our audience put up with that? I mean, I don't even understand that. Like, if you never
Have you ever watched
deliver
Lost?
the goods, It's just
Not-
lost.
yeah.
They're just caught up in a never-ending story.
You've got Lost. You've got From. Have you heard of the show From?
No.
No.
I am so offended by that show because even the name is lowbrow. Like Lost still insinuates something. It's like people are lost on an island. They don't know what's going on. Every episode was just random nothing. Then you make the show From, and now it's like it references literally nothing. It's just doesn't mean anything, and the show literally is meaningless. And then my least favorite of all is Severance, which is another one of these shows. And it's funny when I talk to people about it, and they're like, "This is not a mystery box show." I'm like, "Then what were the sheep for? The lambs? What was the room full of lambs for? Answer the question." It's all nothing. So that's why we're gonna wrap up every Timcast IRL now with a cliffhanger to make people yearning to come back for more. So just don't forget, every time the show ends, we need to make a loud. We should choose a random noise, just like a random noise of some loud car crash or a clown or a shrieking woman, and then we'll go, "Oh my god!" and you'll play a noise of like dogs barking, and we'll go, "Oh!" and then we'll just turn the show off, and then everyone's gonna be like, "Oh man, tune in next time to Timcast IRL to see what happened."
I think we did a show where it was all empty chairs and it got more view. It had like 50,000 live viewers just watching an empty studio.
Well, that was because we got swatted.
Yeah, we all exited the building, but we left the show running for like an hour, and it was people
like
love the
3
drama.
hours.
They're like, I want to see if they come back. I want to know what's.
And then the police walked in with the dog and walked around, and everybody was the
cliffhanger.
viewership was going up.
That's the human brain. They want to know. I don't know. There's definitely
Indeed.
some mammalian thing in there.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.